Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Tarda Zone. This is the Tarda Zone Talks. I hope you're all doing very well indeed. And we need to actually talk about the people that are involved with Doctor Who, because it's becoming a bit of a joke how people connected to this franchise uh, think they speak for the rest of us when they go up and get their little awards and, then go and do their speeches. Now, the latest one is from, obviously, we covered the fact that RTD had a bit of a meltdown when he did his BAFTA speech. And the Russell Tovey, who is the lead actor in The War Between the Land and the Sea, was at an award ceremony, and of course, he couldn't help himself but have a go at the current state of the country, and of course, didn't blame who's actually responsible. The usual gaslighting from these gobshites, but he has told the LGBTQ plus community that they have to prepare themselves for a reform government, scaremongering people out there, because the party that these people backed in, the Labour Party, has failed to do their job. So instead of actually calling out Labour and their policies and everything that they're doing to destroy the country, he has decided that he is going to look at Nigel Farage's party Reform and use it now to scaremonger the LGBTQ plus community. Now, to the LGB community, you know quite well that nothing is going to happen, okay, and that this is fear-mongering from the usual people that support the TQ plus, right? And this is the issue that we have here now. There's been a huge pushback now on all of this bullshit, by the way, over the last year in particular. And you'll also see that during Pride this year, fewer companies took or got involved or were engaged with celebrating Pride this year. And that trend will continue into next year as well, because there is a pushback against all of this. But I don't know about you guys, but I'm sick and tired of these people, right, that are either in our shows, writing for our shows, directing for our shows, or whatever their involvement is with the show, thinking that they can lecture people out there on what they must think, how they should feel, and all of this other nonsense. And to use the scaremongering tactics that he used is absolutely disgraceful. They're alarmists, right? Him, RTD, they're all alarmists, they are. Okay? It's absolutely disgusting that when they go up, look, for me, I've always said this anyway, right? The award ceremony is there for your fellow peers and the audiences to appreciate the art that you're involved with and your participation in that, right? That's why we hold award ceremonies. We give it, well, it's supposed to be we award the best of the best, right? It's not, as Ricky Gervais said all of those years ago, it's not to be used as a platform for you to come up and to spout some fucking nonsense to the audience at home, right? When the audience at home, anyway, usually, or when we used to tune into award ceremonies, they were award ceremonies, right? People did their speeches, even people cried. It was great. It was glorious, right? Now, every actor or actress that goes up has some fucking thing to say, right? And their attitudes are disgusting. Robert De Niro in America, especially. You know, if you go on national television, right, and millions of Americans are watching, and you say go, you say fuck the president, basically, right? I don't care how you feel about someone. You're there because it was a ceremony to celebrate the industry that you're involved in. It's not there for you to use it as a platform to go and attack someone because you don't agree with them. And this is what RTD and Russell Tovey are doing. They're using these platforms and these fake awards, in my opinion anyway, they're all Mickey Mouse awards, right? The BAFTA award that RTD received, what was it, a lifetime achievement for writing or whatever it was. Some stupid award that he doesn't even deserve, by the way. He doesn't even deserve it. Right? He's been rewarded for his work at the time when he's done his work. He doesn't need an extra trophy. Like when he's worked over the last few years, I'd say people would agree with me the last decade, it's been a lot of hit and miss with RTD. But to come out with the shy that this man has come out with is absolutely disgraceful. And the scaremongering that's going on is absolutely disgraceful. Actor Russell Tovey has issued a stark warning to the LGBTQ plus community, urging them to prepare ourselves for the possibility of a reform UK government as the right-wing party led by Nigel Farage gains traction in the national polls. Speaking in the interview with Attitude magazine, that's what it was an Attitude Man of the Year or something he was given at the Virgin Atlantic Attitude Awards. Do you remember Virgin Media made up an award for Jodie Whittaker as well at the BAFTAs because they knew she wasn't getting a BAFTA, so Virgin Media says, look, we'll give her an award, right? We'll make her, you know what I mean? There's Virgin again, at it again with, a make-uppy award. Bobby reflected on the political climate and the potential rollback of civil liberties in the late 80s. There was a Section 28 homophobia in all the red top newspapers, horrific politics. 30 years later, we're now in the cynical moment politically where people's liberties are being reversed, he said. Yeah, but you're not talking about the people, Russell, that have been locked up or have the cops showed up at their door for a social media post, right? So where's your anger and your disdain towards the Labour government, who also want to force digital ID on the British people, even in people in Northern Ireland? And the people in Northern Ireland have made it absolutely very clear, like the Scottish people have made it absolutely clear, there will be no digital ID, right? So why aren't you giving out about Labour's policies that are literally taking away people's right to free speech and taking away their freedoms and liberties, right? For a small section of the world's population, this group, the TQ plus, get more fucking validation, get more fucking airtime, get more fucking, attention than any other group on the fucking planet, right? And you're talking this shy. We must be united to stand against all that is being thrown against us. He's literally been talking to RTD too much. That's what's happened here, right? Because this is absolutely the stuff that RTD has been spewing ever since he came back to Doctor Who. But not one of them has criticised Labour government. Not one of them. And there's a few Doctor Who fans who are Labour supporters out there. Yeah, they're very silent all of a sudden on this digital ID and people being they actually agree with certain people being arrested, and they have actually rejoiced in the fact that mothers and fathers have been locked up for social media posts because they don't agree with what they're saying. Now, as I said to someone tried to come back at me, right? Someone mentioned a post about Ireland. Ireland isn't a shambles and all of this. And I says, well, come to Dublin and you'll see a shambles, right? And This person was obviously not from Dublin, but then came back at me and said, well, that's not the experience I've had. And I just wrote back, and I'm going to say to everybody out there, well, then you must be related to Stevie Wonder, right? You must be all related to Stevie Wonder, because you just have to look around Dublin. You just have to see what's happening in the UK. You can see how bad it is in the UK. It's actually worse here, by the way, folks, right? We're a smaller country. We've been decimated, right? It's only a matter of time before we're absolutely screwed. We're probably already there. We just, our people just don't know it yet, right? But these people, right, they don't care if you get locked up, right? They don't care, right? They hate the flag, right? They hate you. And that you say that goes against them, you're automatically labelled far right. I could tell you now, right, because I'm perceived as far right in my country, right? That's what I get called by people, far right. I am not far right. Okay, nobody out there has just suddenly woke up and become far right. No, we're logical, right? We want things done properly, right? So as far as I'm concerned, you're just right. You're not far right, you're just right. That's a saying we use in Ireland. You're not far right, you're just right. Okay? You have a right to know who's coming into your communities. You have a right to know what kind of people are coming into your country. You have a right to express yourself of those opinions. But yeah, the ones that talk about, freedom of speech and all of this other bollocks, right? Yeah, it's only freedom of speech if you agree with the left. So everybody else is labelled far right. There isn't, listen, I'm not going to sit here and say there isn't far right movements in Europe, right? Unfortunately, that has happened. There is proper far right, you know what I mean, out there, right? But the rest of us just want our countries to be our countries, and, to remove those that are a danger to our society. Simple as that. And all the rest that comes with that, But there is no far right movement, right? That they'd like to say, right? There are elements out there. We've seen it in America. We've seen it in other parts of Europe, right? I won't deny that there is, but the majority of us are just people that are sick and tired of the government corruption, the money that's passing hands, and there's a lot of money passing hands as well. And Russell Tovey, Russell T. Davis, and all of these other fucking gobshites all sit back and say nothing, but bash you for being white, bash you for being straight, bash you for whatever reason because of the colour of your skin, but yet we're the racists and we're the bigots and we're the homophobes, we're this, that and the other. Right? And he talks about that reform. Listen, I don't know what reform's manifesto is, right? Do I trust Nigel Farage myself? I wouldn't trust him, to be quite honest with you. Do you know what I mean? I think he'd sell out as quick as he got in, right? I don't really trust him. There are other alternatives in England, but Reform are the ones that are making waves, right? And because Nigel Farage is the party leader, it's easy for Russell Tovey and Russell T. Davis and all of these other people to stoke up the fear, right? Has actually, and I don't know this, so anybody living in the UK, what is Nigel Farage's stance on LGB, right? And then what's his stance on the TQ plus, right? Because if his stance on LGB is that he doesn't give a shit, but he thinks the trans issue is a problem, right? Well, then that's where all of this hate is coming from, and it's not genuine. They're there because, again, the TQ plus need them to protect them, but they throw them under a bus as soon as they could, and they will eventually. That's the ironic thing about all of this. RTD and Russell Tovey think they're actually doing good, but at the end of the day, these very same people will throw you two under a bus like they threw John Barrowman under a bus. Like they have no problem with turning against you. And the people that I've spoke to have told me that there is genuine fear in the LGB community as such, right? And it's not from MAGA, it's not from Nigel Farage or anybody like that, right? It's from the TQ plus. That's who they fear, right? Because that's who's trying to erase them. And as you always know, I've always brought this issue up on this channel. I've never been afraid to speak my mind. I've had people trying to take down my channel as well because of my opinions, right? And I've never backed down. And I'm not backing down, and I'll never back down on this issue. The whole thing with trans and kids, in my opinion, is a crime against humanity, and it should be addressed ASAP. You get the left out there worried about people thousands of miles away, yeah, but every day in every country around the world, there's some poor child out there whose life has been absolutely decimated. So he's full. If you want to know the full interview anyway, you got to watch it. But he did also say this. The actor has also called for his platform, used his platform to call for stronger infra-community support, saying queer people, right? He's using a slur, by the way. Queer people must be better allies to one another. We alienate our own and we turn against ourselves. See, he's even confirming what I've said, that they alienate their own and they go after them, right? But you see, the thing about it is, Russell, right? I'm gonna let you in with a little secret here. They aren't your own. They don't give two shits about you. That's the ironic thing. You care so much about them, but as I said, they throw you under a bus as soon, and you've just actually admitted there that that's exactly what they do. So, you know, why is a fighting this and not just getting on with your careers and being the best actor that you can be, and Russell being the best writer that he can be? Why is I putting so much time and energy in this when these people will turn on you and a heartbeat is beyond me, because I wouldn't do it. It wouldn't be fucking me, right? I could tell you fucking that. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's stupidity or you're just blinded, but you need to stop. But these are the people that are working on your show. These are the people that are in your franchise. And Russell Tovey, as I said, is the lead actor in The War Between the Land and the Sea, right? So after his comments now, I'll ask everybody. I already know that some people weren't watching, a lot of people weren't watching. But after hearing these comments there, how many people are actually going to tune in to the War Between the Land and the Sea? And also, I've got an announcement to make as well in regards to that. Obviously, the last time I streamed, I did say that I would cover the War Between the Land and the Sea. But as part of this whole Doctor Who boycott, I will not be reviewing the War Between the Land of the Sea. I will not be talking about it even when it airs. I will not be doing anything in relation to that. What we will do instead is while the show is on, we may do some classic Who watch-alongs, or maybe some new Who watch-alongs. It depends on what people want, and we'll do some other streams. But I will not be reviewing the War Between the Land and the Sea. So I just want to make that clear. So if anybody was hoping, because obviously I did say it, but if anybody was hoping that I'd still be doing them, I'm not doing them. Okay? And I'm sorry that it's not happening. But the bottom line is that if we're going to be serious about getting some serious change in here, then everybody has to follow suit. But I know I'm talking to a brick wall, because anytime I ask for a boycott, some people will get involved, but the people that need to be getting involved don't get involved. So I hope this time around, because they've had enough just as much as I have, that they might actually come around this time. But I will not be reviewing it on this channel. It's not happening. And I won't even be watching. I'm not even going to watch. So I'm officially done. Hey Noel, why don't you watch all the Silurian and the Sea Devil episodes instead? Yeah, that's a great idea. That's what we should do over that time period. Uh, we will do that. Yeah, that's a great idea. There you go. Now we've got a great idea for moving forward there when the war between the land and the sea. I'm not reviewing it. I'm done. And it's not going to get many viewers anyway. So it's going to be probably worse than Doctor Who. So, like, what we will have to worry about people out there having a go because there'll be hardly anybody watching that. Do you know what I mean? No, there was a lot of people that were going to tune in anyway. So that's where I'm standing with that. I am not reviewing it. I'm done. Right? Why should I give someone like Russell Tovey my time when he's an absolute twat and can't actually see what's going on in the world? Right? And how the left have twisted everything and made everybody out to be racist bigots and homophobes and all of this other nonsense. Right? When did logic suddenly just go out the window? When did science and biology suddenly go out the window? Right? When did IQs? Well, by the way, IQs have been dropping for decades now, and I think this is why we're where we're at now, and the stupidity has taken over the world, right? Because that's the thing. There's been plenty of studies done. IQs in humans has been going down for decades, right? We're actually is a regression? Is a regression when something goes back? Yeah, we're going backwards, right? We're basically stupid. You know, I see a lot of posts on social media, right, especially on X, right, and it just shows the stupidity of the current age of the human race. You know, you have people putting up, these with blue ticks and big accounts, but nothing between the brain, throwing up pictures of churches and cathedrals and stuff and saying, yeah, if you really believe that humans built that, right, well, we can't even build a fucking hospital, then you must be all of this crap, right? Listen, right, people were just geniuses back then. See, this is what people don't want to admit. The human race was actually more intelligent back in the day than we are today, right? That's the bottom line, right? That's the bottom line. There was more intelligent. The people of Egypt were more intelligent than the whole world, right? There was advanced civilizations out there. Remember that? We used to say advanced civilizations. We don't say that anymore. Do you notice that? Even in the history books and all, they don't use those type of words anymore, right? Advanced civilizations. They were way ahead of their time. Yeah? Okay? So, yeah, they built those magnificent things. They created those works of art, those stained glass mirrors, those big statues, right? Might be hard for your low IQ brain to wrap around, but that's exactly what they did. The fuckers built the pyramids, for fuck's sake. And scientists still today are trying to figure out how they fucking built them. Right? They've come up with theory after theory after theory after theory. Remember the first one, though? It was slaves. Now we know it wasn't slaves that built the Great Pyramids of Giza. Right? They were well looked after. They were well fed. They had their own village. Right? They found this whole fucking thing. See, I'm mad into Egypt anyway, so like I watch all of the Egyptian stuff. It's fucking fascinating, right? But those lads, right, piled fucking those fucking things together to create that pyramid. The scientists today are still trying to figure out how they did it, right? If that doesn't tell you, right, that we're stupid today and they were just more advanced than us, then I don't know what else will. But I see a lot of that social media stuff going on, right? And it just shows me that the world is actually gone. It's gone. Intelligence has gone out the window, right? And this is why it's so easy. It was so easy for the left to infiltrate everything and to get where they are today, because people were docile, people were just fucking distracted, and people were just fucking idiots and, comfortable in their own lifestyles, that they weren't paying attention to what was going on. And we're all guilty of it, by the way. I'm not just having a go, at the whole world. Like, we're all guilty of it. We took our eyes off the ball and we let the asylum run the world. That's what we did. We let the low IQ idiots that are running around now, like the Greta Thunbergs and all those other fucking gobshites, right, dictate our lives and tell us what to do. And yeah, there's not a fucking nation between them all. So you got to look. I get criticised by certain people out there, but I'm done with watching how I upset people now. The bottom line is this, right? If there isn't a proper boycott done of BBC's Doctor Who, right, this whole shambles, right, we're not going to get anywhere. So you have to ask yourselves, right, what do you want, right? Do you want Doctor Who off air? Do you want Doctor Who to be fixed? It doesn't matter. We come together for a common goal. The one thing that is certain, that these people can no longer have control of Doctor Who. And we have to make some sort of stance, some sort of fight back now, and a proper one. No more words, no more. We need to take action. And there are plenty of ways that we can, right? But this can no longer go on, right? And here's the great thing about it. If we can manage to do something with Doctor Who and make the right decisions in relation to Doctor Who, it might create a change, hopefully, within the BBC, an atmosphere within the BBC, and they change completely. I know it's a pipe dream. Doctor Who is my main focus at the moment, but there could be an after effect to all of this. If BBC start making money with Doctor Who, and they're making money that they can't even count it anymore, right? They'd be like, oh, we're onto something here. Maybe this DEI nonsense that we've been doing for years is not actually working out. Let's scrap it and let's just hire based off talent. Let's bring in the best writers. Let's bring in the best people to do the job. Even the Doctor Who fan show that they've proudly put up on YouTube shows you the current state of talent within the BBC, right? There's nobody out there that could tell me, right, listen, I know before she was sucked in by BBC, apparently Crystal D's Doctor Who fan show used to be a bit of a laugh and everybody had a laugh. I never watched it, to be quite honest with you, because, it's not my jam, right? That sort of thing with especially with someone like Crystal D. She'd actually do my head in, right? But apparently at some stage it was successful, and then BBC or something, they caught a wind of it, blah, 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 the rest is history, right? But, by God, man, right, I tuned in for a couple of minutes, as you do, right, just out of morbid curiosity. And I swear, lads, right, if that's the level of talent that BBC and the faces that BBC want to represent Doctor Who, well then we need to do something about it, right? Because that whole show encapsulates the whole mess that is Doctor Who, right? The whole Whoiverse, right? In that little show, everything that's wrong. Same with Ben Cook, who writes articles and all of that. These guys have wormed their way into the franchise because, they were either artists, they wrote positively about Doctor Who. And then, of course, you know yourself, all of these fans then eventually then catch the eye of BBC, and then it's too late. No, let's just stacking rocks, mate. What, in relation to what? Oh, in the relation to the pyramids? Nah, man, it's the way they were designed, little chambers and all of that. No, it wasn't just stacking bricks. It wasn't just stacking bricks, right? There's a lot more to the pyramids, man. Sorry, President Lemon, but I have to disagree with you on that one. But by the way, you still owe me lemonade. I'm still waiting on me delivery of sweet lemonade. Anyway, if you just want to read the rest of this Russell Tovey interview, it appears in the November-December issue of Attitude magazine. So it's not even like it's only what, October, right? It's not even coming out till next month. Like, so he dropped a few words and then just bang. Scotland is getting their lemonade this month. Ireland is December. No problem, mate. No problem. But look at, I obviously living in Ireland, my country is bad, but looking over at England and all, Wales and Scotland, it is sad. I got to be honest, looking at it all. And, you see things every day, and then you've got Russell, the two Russells, and then everybody that they're associated with crying and having meltdowns over the wrong things. Like, as I said earlier, people are literally getting thrown into jail in England for social media posts. Now, luckily here, the government have actually said that they're not going to bring in their hate speech laws. Now, that hasn't stopped Europe, and Europe are trying to push through some hate speech legislation. So we'll be keeping an eye on that as Irish people. But even our government are kind of looking at England and like, well, maybe that is a bit too fucking far. Do you know what I mean? England has just completely... Listen, we all thought Australia was bad, right? And New Zealand was bad with all of their restrictions and all the stuff that was happening over there during even the COVID pandemic and all, right? I have to say England is worse. I never thought I'd see the day as an Irishman that I would be saying that the English people need to fucking do something and do something fast. Or yous are lost. Or yous are lost. And you know what? No matter what's happened between our two peoples, right? Just like being Irish, there's something about being British, about being English, about being Welsh, about being Scottish. And it's worth preserving. But you aren't going to preserve it by keep talking and going to Tommy Robinson's rallies or whatever other rallies are organised by people. You need to do something about it. And we need to do something about it here in Ireland as well. I'm sick and tired of telling people out there that the talking has to stop, unfortunately. Right? We're facing, in 4 years' time, Ireland's facing the possibility of a situation like you have with the Labour government. Right? There's a big possibility, strong possibility in Ireland that we could have a radical left government with Sinn Féin, Social Democrats, People Before Profit. The People Before Profit, by the way, some of their members were part of that flotilla, Gaza. They're involved in Gaza and all of that. So that's what right? They're trying to get in Catherine Connolly, who's also a radical left candidate for president, who also supported Hamas. So that's what we're dealing with here in Ireland. And she could be president now in a couple of weeks' time, right? And then 4 years then, that radical left government gets in with the radical left president. Oh, by God, the bills and the legislation that's going to be passed in this country before her presidency runs out is going to be an absolute bleed nightmare for Irish people. Everything is not going to get better, right? The bottom line is it's getting worse, and 2026 is going to be no different to 2025. It's going to be a lot worse, right? It's just going to be a lot worse, and we have to be prepared. right? These lefty radicals, right? That what's happening here now, what you're seeing here now, is that obviously since Trump has been re-elected, right, there's been a pushback against the left, right, the radical left, not just in the States, but obviously anything that happens in America always affects the world. Americans like kind of don't realize that any decisions that are made in America do have global repercussions. So when he was elected, and then when that thing happened to Charlie, you know, it pushed people into action. And now there's a huge pushback, and there has been, as I said, since Trump got elected, there has been a pushback against the radical left. And this is what's happening now. These lads are not going to go down without fighting, but they're going to be as dirty as they've ever been. And if they literally have to fearmonger a whole community to scare the shite out of them, right, that's what they'll do. Gary Neville is the perfect example. Listen, I'm a Man United fan, and he absolutely shames Manchester United and shames Manchester United fans out there. He is out of touch, right? And to go around and to accuse British white males for all of the problems in the UK, well, living in his little bubble, going to Qatar, he's a listen, that fella is a hypocrite, right? Listen, fans in the Man United fan have been calling out Gary Neville for years. He's a little hypocrite, a sellout, right? Takes Qatari money, knowing that those stadiums were built by basically slaves. But I'm going over there and taking the money to highlight the issues. Well, you didn't need to take the money, did you? You didn't need to go over there to highlight the issues. You could highlight the issues in the UK. But yeah, you need to look. Bottom line is, do you remember what we used to be told, right? The school bully. There comes a time when you have to stand up for yourself and defend yourself. And this is the situation that we're in now. It's time for us to stand up and defend ourselves, right? Because they're literally, for the last few years, right, they've been literally hammering us left, right, and centre. And we've taken it. And that's the thing. They don't realise how patient we've actually all been. We've taken it. But I think people are getting to the edge now. I think people are fed up. They've had enough now, right? And if RTD, you know what, thinking about the whole RTD meltdown and then thinking about the fact that it's rumoured that he's gone, I say that's why he had the rant at the Baptist. And I say that's why Russell Tovey has also had the rant picking up his boss. Basically calling people out, trying to fearmonger them. RTD calling people cowards. Right? Absolutely disgusting. Look, we'll have a more in-depth conversation about this. I'm going to try get the likes of Lee on and other people from the UK that can actually talk about the UK a bit more than I actually can in relation to this. And, as you all know, Lee is very up on all of this and also, has a displeasure and distaste for the shite coming out of these people's mouth as well. And I'm being honest with you, if anybody can, tell these gobshites a new one, it'll be definitely him. Because, we've got to remember, guys, that we have friends out there, right, that are actually terrified right now of what's happening, right? Like, it's all right for me, you, and everybody else out there, right? We could feel safe to a certain extent, even though our lives are in danger now as well. But we literally have friends out there that are terrified to walk out the front door, people in our community, because of the fear mongering and the absolute bile that's been spread over the last few years. Uh, Robert says, I could be the Welsh reporter if you like. Yeah, if you want to represent Wales, I can get that. That's absolutely a fantastic idea. If you want to represent and highlight what's happening in Wales, and also as well, you would have a greater in depth to the impact Doctor Who has on Wales, but also when the show was not doing too good. So it'd be nice to hear uh, from that point of view as well, because we do know that, you know, that Doctor Who has in the past at least brought in a lot of money to the Welsh economy. So it'd be very interesting to hear from that point of view. So yeah, I would love to have you on. We'll organise. I'm going to get in touch with Lee. Yeah, I do know he's still on Instagram, so I'll be able to get in touch with him there, and I'll swing this by him and see, and then I'll find out when he's available. Then I'll let you know when he's available and see if you can do it at the same time, and then I'll bring you on. It'll be absolutely fantastic, because we need to be talking about this, folks. You know, I know it's kind of a little bit political, but it does affect Doctor Who, and it is, you know, when you've got the showrunner and you've got the actor that's going to be leading the next, you know, the next spin-off of the Doctor Who franchise, and they're coming out with that show, it needs to be spoken about. Other channels, you know, I know Dan is starting to speak about it, but there's a lot of other Whovian channels out there that refuse. They would rather argue with other Whovians and make videos about other Whovians rather than talking about the real issues and the real problems that are going on with their franchise and the people that are involved with them and the problems that they create and the chaos that they create from their ill-timed comments. Right? That's what Whovian should be doing right now. If you want the best version of this show to come back, or you want the version of the show that you could be proud of, it's not time for you to stay silent now. It's time for you to speak up, right? It's for you to speak up and to speak out against these people that are ruining the show that you love, right? I know some have walked away, but I would encourage you people to come back in just for this, to speak up, because you do have opinions. You left for a reason, right? So people should know why you left and didn't come back to Doctor Who. We need to be hearing from people like that as well, right? We need to be listen. I know people, look, as I said, I know I don't have influence, right? But I'd like to think that people understand where I'm coming from and understand the point of view and understand the things that I'm trying to do. But we really do need to come together, and we really do need to start, as I said, some sort of campaign. And whether it has different forms and different parts, we have to do it. We've got to start fighting back. We can't keep just staying silent. The show's on hiatus. This is the most dangerous time now, right? Because there'll literally be a battle for Doctor Who takes control, right? Do you want these champagne socialists to keep it? I certainly don't. So I think we got to look at with this show. This show has brought us joy for countless hours, right? Countless years, right? It's in the worst position it's ever been. What kind of fandom would we be, or what kind of fans would we be if we turn our back on its time of need? And that's why I've always stuck around. People might call me crazy, but that's why I've always stuck around and continue to talk about it and continue to call out these people, because I'm not going to abandon Doctor Who. Look, if it doesn't come back, then the job is done for me, isn't it? I don't have to worry. It's in peace, right? But right now it's not. And as long as BBC are determined to keep it going, I think we need to have voices out there. You've been called many names now. Crazy isn't one of them. Well, yeah, I have been called many names. Crazy. Yeah, I don't think crazy has ever been thrown at me yet. I probably am a bit crazy, but who cares? Even if I was a bit loopy and a bit crazy, right? The one thing's for sure, and you all know this: my love for Doctor Who, right? You know what it means to me, right? You know why I'm doing this, right? Not doing it for any other motive but my love for a show that I have said in the past kept me around. So I won't turn me back on it in relation to speaking up all the time, right? So I'll keep going. But look, I hope some of what I've said over the last couple of days since I've come back have resonated with some fans out there. I saw something lovely actually earlier on. Someone put a comment in and said, "You gained a subscriber today," right? It was lovely. So it showed that I'm obviously resonating with some people out there with what I've said over the last couple of days. But I really hope you have all watched back on those videos and listened to everything that I've said, because for the first time I think I have a lot of clarity on what I'm saying, and if I was in charge of Doctor Who, there would be clear vision. Right, and I think I understand the problems that the show has, and I think I understand how to fix it. Obviously, I'm not that TV person, I'm not involved in the industry. But as a fan, I think I've got a better grasp of it now, and I know what I would do to fix it. And I think a lot of you agreed with what I said in relation on how to fix this. I think we're all on the same page on that. So, would have different ways of going about ignoring the last couple of eras and stuff like that, and we'll always agree to disagree maybe on that. But I think for the show to be successful, I think we're all on the same page and we all know what needs to be done to make said show successful again. It's not an embarrassment anymore. There was a time growing up where it was embarrassing to say you were a Doctor Who fan, right? We all know what that was like. But when the show came back in 2005, and this you have to give RTD and Stephen Moffat credit for, they gave the show a bit of credibility back, right? And then during the 50th anniversary especially, we were all proud to be Doctor Who fans. We were shouting it from the rooftop, right? But we're back to a situation now where people are ashamed to say they're a Doctor Who fan. Because the first thing you say to someone when you're a doctor, because I got it myself, right? Because I'm not going to give you this. This is not a lie. This is absolutely 100% the truth. The very first rally that I went to here in Dublin, right? And I'd already set up the YouTube channel, right? And I'd been doing a few streams on that, and I was even telling them about, because we weren't always talking politics. We'd like to break it up a bit. So we were talking about movies, TV, and I just brought up I was a Doctor Who fan. So that's all well and good. You got a bit of ribbon in the yoke. Some people, Irish people, were Doctor Who fans. You were telling me their favourite Doctor from the classic era, right? So that was all good, well and good, right? So I got to my first Dublin protest rally. And I show up. I don't know anybody because it's my first time going. And a couple comes over and introduces, I'm blah, 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 from the the Irish on, blah, blah, blah. Oh, the Doctor Who fan. Why Doctor Who? I was like, oh, it's just don't go there with me. It's God's show now, isn't it? Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, it's stuff like that. Now, obviously, I had a laugh with them with it, but there was situations where people take the piss out you for you watch that bollocks. You know what I mean? Why are you watching that? Like, and it should never be like that. Doctor Who fans should be proud of the show, right? And these people that are proud of it, we know they're not fans, right? They're not fans. And I'll keep saying it. They could say that they're fans, right? They're not fans. They only came aboard because Jodie Whittaker was the Doctor, right? And as I said, those very same fans, when Jodie Whittaker regenerated into David Tennant, had an issue with David Tennant because he was a straight white male. But then, of course, do you remember then, just all of a sudden, then David Tennant comes out, wears T-shirts, badges, and starts coming out with statements. It was quite a coincidence. He just starts spewing all of this nonsense, full tilt, all of a sudden, and then they accepted him with open arms because he was a trans ally, and that was the only reason why David Tennant, as a straight white male, was accepted by these fans. It wasn't because it was David Tennant and because David Tennant was a good Doctor. No, it was because he was a trans ally, and that's the truth. Okay. And then, of course, we all know why they supported Ncuti Gatwa. I don't have to actually tell you the obvious, but you all know why he supported Ncuti Gatwa, right? Again, it's not being hired based off talent. They're not hired based off talent. They're hired based off certain criteria. And one of those isn't talent, by the way. Right? And the trend will continue if we don't start stepping it up. Remember, they've already proven it. By the way, it's already been proven that they are a small minority, a small vocal minority, of course, but they're a small minority. Look at the ratings. Look at the ratings right now, right? Look at the fucking ratings. They tell you that they're a small minority, right? We've always been the majority, right? But the problem is, even in the Doctor Who fandom, there's too much ego at play as well, and that stops people from coming together and joining forces, right? And I honestly do believe that if we join forces this time around, because Doctor Who's at the weakest position that it's ever been in, right? And BBC can't afford to fuck up. If we only get together and come up with some idea, listen, I've thrown some ideas out there on what we could do. There might be other YouTubers out there that have some great ideas that we could also do, right? That's the whole point. We come together, we brainstorm, we come up with ideas, right? And we get our followers, our subscribers, and people that support us to then push that campaign along with us. Garbage has been doing videos. I will go in and watch it. I'll let you. I have been enjoying your content, lad. Keep it up. As I said, we need more Doctor Who fans out there anyway, do content while the show is away to keep at least the fans that have, like us, that are desperate and starving out for some decent Doctor Who content. We need fans now to step up. The real fans, of course, to step up now while there's a void at the moment. So keep it up, Garbage, and look forward to seeing your content over the next until the end of the year, until next year. Yeah. Dalek Lives Matter has an interesting one on Tennant. He says Tennant doesn't look straight or behave straight, and his beliefs are traditionally straight. That's one of the problems in media at the moment. They're socially engineering your culture to believe he is. Exactly. You know, it may look at me. You've actually, you've highlighted it there in that one comment of how stupid and ridiculous this whole thing is, right? There is no logic to it, right? There is no logic to it. You know, it's just, I just, look, I don't know how we got to this position of where we are in this world, but I will tell you this, right? If you do want a stark warning, right, like Russell, right, gave a stark warning, I'll give you a stark warning, a proper stark warning, right? If we continue down this path, right, God help us all. That's all I'm going to say. God help us all, right? Actually, I don't even think God would be able to help us, but we are going down a very, very dark path. And once we go down it, and we've started to go down it, right, we can still turn back, right? We continue to go down that path further. That's it. We're done. We're done. What I suggest is you enjoy the rest of your life, and unfortunately, you won't be able to do anything about future generations. Your family will be up to them to try and sort this mess out. But I think once you go past a certain point, that's it. We're done. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there because I got some food to cook and stuff like that. But I hope you have enjoyed this Saturday afternoon stream. I was supposed to stream last night, so I got stream tonight or today instead. So I hope you have enjoyed it. Of course, if you want to leave your own comment, if you have your own way of looking at all of this, let me know. It'll be absolutely fantastic to see what you all think. And of course, again, I want to know if you're Russell Tovey's comments. Are you going to watch the war between the land and the sea, or were you not going to watch it anyway, or you were going to watch it now, but you've decided that you're not going to watch it? Let me know all of that in the comments. As I said, I will bring Robert on, and I'm going to try get Lee on as well, and we will continue this conversation again in the future. But for now, I would like to say to you, have a good day. Enjoy the rest of the day. It looks a bit miserable out there, but enjoy the rest of the day anyway. And I will talk to you all very soon. Oh, yeah, just one more thing. Cheryl has been doing these little videos that she likes to call Cheryl's Murder Walks, where she goes on these walks, right, and she finds kind of these remote little places and stuff. And she's decided to do little videos with some music behind them. So their YouTube shorts, I've thrown up a couple now, but you'll be getting some YouTube short content of Cheryl moving forward. So if you could support them, I'd really appreciate it, because Cheryl she actually does edit the videos herself and stuff like that. So if you could go and support them, really appreciate that. And of course, you'll have your content from me as well. So don't forget to like, share, and if you haven't subscribed, please do. And if you're a new subscriber, welcome to the channel. The subscriber count has actually moved up, believe it or not. I don't know how that's happened, but look, we won't complain. But to all the new subscribers that have joined the channel over the past couple of weeks and months, I'd like to thank you all, and I will see you again for the next one. Have a good one, folks. Bye bye.